All right. So far, whatever we covered in last 3 sessions, do you have any question around that? Hope you guys are, practicing also.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
practice.
Okay. Fine, fine. So yesterday, I was, talking about the cross table. I'll continue from there, right? The cross table. So I'll create, these things from scratch once again. See, there are two type of tables over here, right? One is a specific
Mhm.
table. I mean, that's a simple table, and another object is known as matrix. Correct.
Mhm.
So let's say in any case you go with table and you start putting your fields over here. So for example, let's say start with segment, then maybe region, or maybe let's say city and any measures, whichever, like sales or profit. So if you see over here, I've just started taking my fields. It's simply, whatever field I selected, it's kept on adding those fields over here. There is no other change. It will just simply show you that wherever possible, it will show the aggregation, right? Now, over here also, if you see, all the values are in one card itself, correct? Under this, all the values, whether it is your segment, region, fee, city, sales, everything is in one card only. Now, the difference you might see, if it is segment, you are getting the individual values, correct? But let's say if it is sales, what you are getting is as sum. So because it is a measure, it's being done on aggregation. You have option over here to kind of change the aggregation logic also. So aggregation, you can at the place of sum, maybe you can go for average, minimum, maximum, count distinct, all these things over here, right? But the primary thing is like everything is on one card, and that is the reason you don't have any what happens in pivot. In pivot, you get columns, you get pages, and then you get values. Three basically components are there. Over here, everything is coming as a value, and that's the reason there is no hierarchical kind of levels, or maybe you cannot collapse or expand. It's a simple table. What It's a simple table what you get here. Now within this, you have option for it says like drill through, and cross report. What is drill through, by the way? What is the meaning of drill through or drill down reports?
Mm. To structure in a hierarchy manner, from ascending to descending.
I mean, in a way, you can say that ascending to descending, but primarily it is kind of levels. So levels
Like,
like,
okay.
right, levels like, let's say, uh, at the beginning level, or maybe in the first level, if you are showing your data on country level, if you click on country, you should get data on state level, right? If you further click on state, you might get the data on city level. So that type of
Mm.
labeling is called drill through, because you are clicking on it and you are getting the further information, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we can enable. I'm not sure over here we can do it, but that's 100% possible in the charts also. Let's see here what happens. So if I
Mm.
click on cross report on, right, and then you have option for add drill through fields over here. So let's say if I add category, right, and all the values, correct, used as a category, allow
Mm.
drill through when used as a category. Okay, fine. So show as a table, only these options you get over here. Show as a table means it's a, okay, what is the meaning of show as a table? What it is doing, it, as soon as I click over here, it's kind of showing you one more component over here. But what does this mean?
Like, it structures in a way to form a table.
Hmm. Okay, so let me tell you, at this moment, right? At this moment, it shows you the exact component down below. Whatever component you see here, it shows you the same component. Correct? Means both are table. In a way, let's say you added one. Okay, let me just take one more object called pie chart. Okay, if I right click over here, it's going to show me the table once more, the similar table. See over here, right? So, I mean, if your component or the control which you have taken is not a table and you want to see the data as a table, then you can simply click on, right click on it and show as a table. You can do that. It is for basically, it is useful for, the viewers, users, correct? They can see that data
Yeah.
in this particular format. Okay, so over here, let me,
So in real time, we may get for the stakeholders, like when they are trying to show us a table for us, for an example, as you said, pie chart. So they may get different values there. So those kind of issues are all will be there, right?
no, see, this option will be there for them also, for individual users. And in case, let's say they want to kind of focus on an individual chart, right? What will happen? They can click over here, first of all. They'll see this chart in a bigger format, in a focused format. Then they can right click and click on show as a table. So this is for users basically, right? For this, you need not to kind of do any kind of extra development. Okay. Yeah. So, right. One more thing over here. Let's see. I would like to kind of show some hierarchy. Let's say yesterday we created this one subcategory and all. What I'll do in this particular chart only, at the place of regions, let me put this field. Okay, I've selected this. Now I'll go to focused mode. See what is happening at this moment. You are getting all the categories like technology, you are getting office supplies, or you are getting furniture. Correct? You have option. If you just click on the second level, in the within the same pie chart, you get subcategories over here.
Okay.
Right? You
Yes,
can
sir. The
directly,
first one was category. Okay, now subcategory. Next will be the product names.
yeah, in the third
Okay.
segment, if you select, you'll get subcategory and this office supplies appliances, office supplies level. So it's a combination of your subcategory and category.
Okay.
You're getting this combination, right?
Yeah.
Category and subcategory. So accordingly, you are getting these values. So that's again within the chart. You can, if either you want, you can just right click over here, drill down. You'll get these values. See, now it is a product name, the third level.
Okay.
Right? This is the same hierarchy what we created yesterday. There is no other
Yeah.
change. So within the chart, you can, see you are at the lowest step now, product name. So that's why it shows you now drill up. So you can click on drill up. You'll go a step above. Drill down, it will take you the next level, or drill up will take you one step up. So that's how your hierarchies will work in chart and yeah, in some other visualization. But in table generally, if it is a cross table, then only you will get that collapsible option. If it is a table, then you will not. So yesterday what we were trying to do, we were trying to take those fields, I mean this hierarchy over here in the table, and in table it generally comes as a value only because everything comes on the value card. So in right, So in table, you will not get that collapsible option. That option is available only in, let's say if I just add this subcategory over here, see all three fields are there. You'll get all those three fields as it is because it is on the value card. You have option to kind of add or remove things from here, but you cannot get in the collapsible format. If it is, let's say, matrix, then it works. Okay, I just converted the existing chart. See, you can say it's a drawback or maybe it's a beauty of Power BI. Earlier it was my cross table, right? Sorry, it's a simple table. As soon as because I wanted to insert one more matrix table or cross table, right? When I just clicked on it, this component was already selected. So automatically it got converted into cross table. See, right? Over here you get that in the collapsible format. So if you click over here, you get the next level of information, right? So that's how basically your cross table will work. As of now, I have collapsible option only on the row side. In case you take a date over here, you can get that in columns as well, right?
Yeah.
So these options are there, of course. Now let's explore these options a little more. Options, basically these control specific options. So what will happen, these options will keep on changing depending on the control what you drag. It's a cross table right now, so you're getting rows, columns and values. If it was table, you had only values, right? So you need to be
So basically, like we can't do drill through and take normal table and right.
I didn't get
Or
your
maybe
actually whenever you speak there is a lot of echo from your side, so I cannot understand. I don't understand in one go.
okay. So we cannot drill through with the normal table visualization, right?
Right. See, in order to
Yeah.
drill through, you need to have some second level of options,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
that's what is the kind of requirement. Now
Mhm.
I'll just go through during through the options of this particular table right now. So values, of course, you have everything on the value card. Then drill through and keep all filters. See, keep all filters, I have turned it on. So what will happen if you see under this filter tab, right? Everything got added. So whether it is your category, city, profit, region, sales, and segment, these things got added. Now what will happen over here, right? We'll talk about filters on details, but I'm just covering brief right now. So if it is filter, right? See over here, I can select individual values. If it is category filter, I can select all, I can select only furniture. So whatever you select, you get only that data over here. Same goes with like city. So it will show you all individual values and you can select basis the cities. Good thing over here is like you are getting the count against each city. So like which city has the maximum data, right? Over here, you can enable the single selection. So as of now, you can do the multiple selection. Let's say if you want to see the data of these two cities, you can select those. But in case, let's say you want to enable only single selection, so only one city can be selected at a time. See, as soon as you select this, you cannot select another one, right? At a
This
time, only. Mhm.
this single selection is only for city or for all the filters.
It will see. I have selected only within the city, right? So I can select only one city at a time. Other filters will work as it is. There,
Okay.
there is no impact on other filters. So for like region, I can select still two values. But with
Okay.
but within city, only one value I can select.
Okay.
for any time, let's say you selected multiple things and you want to remove those, you get a small this icon, clear filter. You can click on it and it will go away from that filter will get removed. Okay, now let's say look at this option, format. Under format, you get couple of options over here, like field formatting is there. So like for each field, segment, category, region, right, these are different fields, right? So you can select that field and you can do the formatting, maybe color formatting or whichever you want to kind of apply. So let's say font color and background color, maybe you can keep something like this, right? It depends on your requirement actually. So field specific formatting is required. Now apply to values, apply to totals. So wherever you want to apply, you can do that. Right now it is applied to values, but not to totals. If I do to totals, yeah, in this scenario, the total is actually not there because it is your dimension, right?
Yeah.
In dimension, you won't get total. So that's what. Let me take some small fields. Maybe I can.
But
Hmm.
what I feel is like when we get the requirement, uh, then it would be easy for us to do it. I think if we have to do it, it will take time and
No, no,
with
that is true. See, that is true. If you get the requirement, then it is kind of like what to do and what not.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Correct. But because of this agile setup, right? In agile setup, what happens? They'll come up. They'll kind of just give you the high level requirement, like this is the data and this is what you need to create, right? Now, uh, they'll say simply like these measures need to be plotted. So what they will expect, like looking at those measures, you can go and kind of uh, create some visualization by your own. And then they start the discussion and then finalize that whichever visualization looks better or which has the problem. So that's the format. In agile, it is
Okay.
most of the things are going through the discussions only. Okay. Okay. So I was just going through these other options. So in general, we saw the colors. Yeah. In general, we saw some other. See, now those options I'm not getting. Earlier there was the color of font, right? Okay. I think we selected field formatting at that time. So in general, it's a position where you want to put your this control, right? X and Y, basically these are the coordinates. So let's say if you put it as at the place of 24, let's say if you put let's say 1, so what will happen? It will start exactly from the first level. If you put as 10, you'll see it got shifted a bit. So that it's a layout arrangement, that is what you need to learn. So I'll just put it maybe 1 or 0 for X, and similarly for Y I can put 20 so that on top I can get some space. Maybe not 20, then maybe 100, I believe. This number is too high. Okay, so this is how you can switch from top to bottom towards the bottom. I think the height and data in this table is still too much. That's why it is taking a lot of time, but
Yeah.
that's fine. So we are able to kind of move it. Maybe I'll put it at 90. No, 90. It says the number is too high.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So you are able to kind of put something number. Whenever it goes beyond the limit, it says that the number is too high and it shows in red color. Width wise, you can increase this width. So maybe it's a 540, we can took 700. See, the width of this control has increased. Similarly, same goes with height. Then alternate text, you can show the description over here if it is required. Then style, you can show the styles, the colors in the styles basically. So if you see here, you can choose based on your requirement. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Style, we got grid now. So grid is already enabled. We can see the grid lines over here. If in case you don't want to see these lines, you can turn it off and you will not get these grid lines, right? So we have turned off both vertical as well as horizontal bars. If it is on, you can do the remaining formatting, that how you want to see your data. So that is there. Row padding is there. Column headers. So formatting related to column headers, like if you want to bold your headers or if you want to give some other color, so that sort of formatting you can do from here. Now I'll just collapse it. Values, it is for the values. Values is generally your sales and profit, like the measures what you drag. But over here, because it is your table control, right? Everything is on value card. So in case you make any changes over here, it's going to be applicable to all of these. So maybe like this, see, because we selected alternate style, I guess. Condensed, there was some option wherein we selected alternate. That's why every alternate rows is coming in a different, okay. So here only you can see alternate font color. So that is why it is coming as alternate. Outline for the table you want to give, URL icon you want to give, like URL means for let's say when you kind of publish this report, if you give some URL icon, do you know like favicon? What is favicon?
No.
Favicon, yeah. Okay. So what happens? For example, even if you go for, okay, I'm on anymeeting.com. So you see there, it's a small logo related to this
Yeah.
website. That is called favicon, right? Icon and
Okay.
favicon. Similarly, any website you go to, if it has any, let's say favicon, that will show up. So maybe if you go to Facebook or LinkedIn, any website, you'll get that favicon at the top here, right?
Okay.
It's you can say the logo for your website.
Okay.
What happened to Ritesh?
So we'll check WhatsApp also.
Just a minute. Okay, let's see. We'll see his
Yeah.
reply. Okay, so it was all about your filter. We were just going through this particular formatting option. I'm just covering it for table right now, but you need to kind of maybe go through, because each component will have different options, right? So
Okay.
we saw just now till grid lines, column headers, values. Then you can apply a specific formatting on your totals. So totals like these numbers at the bottom in the table. Field formatting we already saw. That was the first thing what we started with. Then conditional formatting. So over here you can do some sort of conditional formatting, like background color, all these things. See, as soon as we turn it on, background color, you see the condition over here, right? So
Yeah.
you can select your maybe rules, or maybe you can define some rule over here, and basis that you will apply the color. So it's similar to Excel, right? You remember it,
Yeah.
conditional formatting in Excel?
Yeah.
So it's the same format over here. If your value
Okay.
is greater than or less than or between this, then what should be happen? If it is a specific value, then what should happen? So it's the same format over here. We can create those rules, right? And then we can apply these filters. Yeah,
Okay.
basically not filters, conditional formatting. So I'll just cancel it for a moment, and then let me go down. Okay, then for title, of course title is not there at this moment. See, the title text is not there, so you can enable the title text, and then you can put your title, that what you want to show. This title will be specific to this particular chart, not the whole page,
Okay.
right? Title for this particular
For,
cross table.
for the whole page, we need to use only the text box.
Right, for the whole page you will just add this text box.
Okay.
Then alignment of the columns, like middle or central alignment, that you can do from here. Then background color, lock aspect, border, shadow, tooltip, visual, visual headers. So all this you can apply from this formatting page, correct?
Okay.
Yep. The last tab is for analytics. So if let's say your chart or your component has analytics enabled, then you will see these options, otherwise you will not see. Right now, because we are working on the cross table, for this it seems that analytics is not enabled, correct? But let's say if I take some other control, maybe trend line over here, and in trend line, let's say if I draw profit, and let's say take date, order date or ship date, let's say ship date. So it's a trend, right, what we are showing over here. So if you go here in analytics, then you see these different lines, correct? So this analytics tab is enabled for this particular chart, but for cross table, sorry, our first table, it was not enabled. So you will find this option only in few controls, not in every control.
Okay.
Even for pie chart it is not there, but for only this thing is there. Okay, I'll talk about these lines one by one, but before that, we just looked at the filters, right? When the filters which you wanted to apply. So what will happen over here, again on each filter, if you see, you have this lock icon and there is one view eye kind of icon, correct? This eye icon is there. Okay. Ritesh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Sorry, there was some
Okay.
there was some poor network which the video is keep on loading, so I just went and refresh everything and came back.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So actually, I was just going through the different options for tables, which you get here, like formatting options. There were few options which are not available for table, like analytics and all. So I was trying to just show that using your trend line.
Yeah, okay.
So, right. So that's what we are going through right now. So my question was, do you know about these lines? What it shows, like trend line, constant line, minimum line, maximum line. What are these, and where do we use it?
Trend line means so if we want to any forecast, so we can use that trend line. And by suppose if we are in the month of February like that, and if we have the past 1 year historical data, if we want to forecast for the next to 1 to 2 months, then we can use that trend line, I think. Then I don't know about the constant line, but we can fix the minimum line and the maximum line by manually, I think. I'm not sure.
Okay, so basically, okay. Have you heard about the control charts by any chance? Control chart, run chart.
No, I don't have.
Okay, so in the processes like the operations, right? Operations or the quality operations. Generally, what they do, they kind of define the threshold for error, right? Threshold for errors means a person who's working in operations can do maximum these many errors. If you go beyond this, which means you will lose all your incentive, or you might get negative marking, right? That's the upper limit which has been defined. Similarly, other aspect could be like, let's say this is your target. So if I plot the for each year, let's say I'm plotting this particular chart. So if I just give one line over here at the top, and I show that for this particular year I was able to touch my target, and for these years we are not able to touch my target. So over there also we are kind of defining one line that shows the limit. If I go beyond that, which means I have hit the target. If I'm not able to touch that, which means I am not able to touch my target. So these type of charts are called control charts or run charts, wherein you have either minimum, maximum, or anything as defined as a target layer, right? Or maybe upper bound or lower bound. So if you just go to this particular chart and see these various trend lines, it's the same thing. Over here you show different type of trend lines. Now trend lines will be basically the straight line you are going to get for this particular um, time series. So let's say if I click on add, right, this is the one line which got added. Now you can work on the formatting of it, how you want to format it, the color, transparency, or maybe the type of line you want to show, a solid line or maybe a dotted line, right? So this is always going to be a straight line, the trend line. Uh, I'm not sure whether it shows you the format here. Yeah, it's not showing you. Uh, in Tableau, I mean, if you use Tableau, you will get the equation for this line because it's a straight line, and straight line always has an equation if you go by geometry and all. So analyze, explain the increase. Okay, let's see. Explain the increase. Okay, they have couple of things created over here, but it doesn't have the equation of line, right? Fine, no worries. So equation of line generally, y is equal to mx plus c. If you are from maths background, you will know. So this line represents a similar kind of flow or trend. So any straight line will have that equation, and even if you go for forecasting or prediction, you need that model or that equation. Fine. We'll talk about the forecasting also, because using trend line we can create forecasting, maybe in this topic only. So trend line, like we have added one trend line and we can see that over here. Now let's say if I go to next option called constant line. So over here you can add constant line, and one value you can define one some number, right? So let's say if I put it on 30,000. I have put it at 30,000. Now you can see there is a line, dotted line, which is constant and it is at 30,000 height, right? So like the concept which I was talking about, maybe I know like what is the target. So I can just put that line over here and it will talk about the target. Anywhere if I hit that line, which means I have achieved my target. If I'm not able to touch that, which means these places we have not hit our target. Correct? So that is what happens in the run chart or control chart. Now the next thing, the next type of line will talk about, let's say minimum line. So it's minimum going to be, let's say if I select minimum, right? Minimum basis profit. So it has created one line with the minimum. See this dotted line? Same goes with if you add a maximum line. Let's say I delete it and I add a maximum line. So it's gonna show you the maximum line by profit. It has already taken the profit because profit was used over here as a measure. See, it has added one more line over here, 40,000. So that is for the maximum value. Average is there, median is there. So similarly, I mean, if you select average profit line you will get, median, like median profit line you will get. What is percentile? What do you mean by percentile?
Percentile means if one total 100% is divided into 100 small things, we can call that one percentile. It seems not sure.
I mean, any idea where do we use it?
Generally, we do use this in the statistical part when we were studying, but in practical where we use, we don't have any idea.
Okay. Avinash, what about you?
Uh,
Where do we use percentile? Okay, I mean, I can't hear you, but that's fine. So see, you guys remember, like for in India, for all IIMs, generally there is exam called CAT,
Yeah,
Combined Aptitude Test. The result of CAT is always declared in percentiles. It is never declared in percentage. Have you noticed that?
yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, okay.
Right. The result of CAT is always declared in percentile. So what happens, right? What happens? Percentage you always calculate out of 100.
Yeah.
Right, in percentage you always do the calculation keeping 100 as a, you know, the maximum thing, and out of that you calculate your remaining people's share or maybe whatever they achieved. But in percentile what happens, for very first time, I mean, as soon as the result of everybody's, maybe score of everybody is calculated, then what they will do, they'll see that who has got the maximum. Correct. Let's say there are 10 people who are kind of giving this exam. So they will see, first of all, they will check their question answers and rank, give the marks basis the question answers to everyone. Then they will look for the person who has got the maximum marks. Then keeping that person's marks, the maximum marks as a reference, they will try to calculate percentage of other people. So for example, let's say the maximum, the person who has got maximum marks has achieved only 70%. Out of 100, he got 70%. Correct? So for other people, the percentile, when they start calculating, they will take that 70 as a reference and then they try to calculate percentage. So that 70, because it is the maximum one, that will become automatically 100 because 70 out of 70 will be 100. Correct? But for other people, it whatever marks they achieved, that would be out of 70. So by doing so, you get the percentile, right? So
Yeah.
there is no, because see, it might be possible that in a particular year, the question answer are very tough, correct? So keeping this in mind, that if one person can achieve the maximum marks like X number, so with respect to that, what other people's aptitude is. So that is why they calculate it, with respect to the maximum marks, not out of 100. Even if let's say maximum mark is 40%, then other people will be evaluated out of 40, not out of 100. So looking at this, over here, we can add percentile lines. And same goes with percentile also. Over here, you just need to define one percentage marks. So if you see here, currently the percentile is coming as 90. You can reduce it or you can change it the way you want. It's very close to kind of percentage formatting, but you can play with it within your view. Now dashed line, the formatting of this line, you can change position in front or behind, fine. Now the last one is forecast, right? Before going to forecast, let me get rid of all other lines. Okay, last option is forecast. Before I go to forecast, can you please tell me that why forecast is used and what it exactly tells about?
It will be used for the future prediction based on past trend.
Mhm.
That's it.
Okay, and okay, let me just go about it. So forecast, as you said, it basically based out of the historical trend or past trend. We can get the numbers for future, that how your future will look like or what is the number you are going to achieve in future. There are several components also like seasonality and all, it will come in picture. But in order to do forecast, you need minimum of 6 months data. If you have less than 6 months data, you cannot do forecasting. Or even if you can do, the quality will be very less, right? Maybe you are trying to do the daily forecast. In that case, you can do it, right? With the less than 6 months data, but the quality will be very poor. So let's just add one forecast line over here. So it says forecast, and as soon as if you see here, I just added. So there is another extra space which got created here. My data was till 2020. You can see 21 and 22 also over here. But as of now, it shows a straight line, right? In terms of forecast, it shows a straight line. There isn't much, information related to this. I'll just convert this into table also. Show the table. So you'll see the number See, it's a profit your actual numbers, but as you go after 2020 Q1, see, the values actual has gone. Now forecasted values are coming, started coming. So over here it is their actual forecast value, and this is your confidence higher bound and lower bound. What is confidence? Confidence interval or confidence level?
It's a kind of statistical part. It's a, like a probability of
Mhm.
getting 99%, 97%, 95%, or 90% like that. Some methods are there. So it's a completely like profitability concept.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. So basically, like while doing any statistical analysis, right, or maybe forecasting, the idea behind confidence interval is that you can, maybe as I said, like if you have less than 6 months data, your forecast might not be correct, right? Even if you have 5 years or 10 years data, your forecast can never be 100% truth. Do you understand this point, right?
Yeah,
Your forecast will never be 100%. Even if you have the maximum accuracy, you will still represent that as 99.99. You can never say that as 100%, because forecast is about future, right? You are predicting something, it's not real thing. So that is why always there is a scope of error, and that is why we say, like, even with 99% of confidence you can predict, still there is a opportunity of 1% error. So error percent and confidence interval percent go hand in hand. If you add both, it will be 100%. You can never be a 0% error, or you can never be 0% confidence. Both will go hand in hand, and sum of both will always be 100%. So that is what happens here. The whatever logic Power BI is using, if they are using the lowest confidence, then these are the numbers they are getting, right? And if they are using the 100% confidence, not 100%, basically the maximum confidence, then they are getting this number, right? So this is how it is coming to for this particular, in order to create this. Now if you go here, I believe you will get a little bit more information. As of now it has forecasted for 10 points. 10 points mean, what do you mean by 10 points?
N- 99.9%.
No, 10 points. What is the meaning of 10 point here?
Maybe the 10 basis points.
No. So 10 point, the meaning of 10 point basically here is, I believe, if you see your unit of data is quarter, right? It is forecasting basis Q1, Q2, Q4, like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
right? If I say 10 points, basically it will forecast for next 10 quarters,
Okay.
right? The unit of forecast or the length of forecast, it's for next 10 quarters. So starting from Q1 2020, if you add 10 quarters, 10 quarters means how many months? One
Two and
quarter
a half.
is 4 months, right? Two and a
Two and
half
a half.
years.
Yeah.
So like that. Uh, Starting from this, it is going up to 2020. I believe it will be up to, okay, they have not given that, but it will be, I believe, Q1 or Q2 of 2020, 22 actually. Then ignore last point. So this basically, this point, why do we use it? Ignore last point. Let's say you are doing forecasting basis the complete month's data, correct? But in case, let's say currently it is month of June which is going on, And if you have only partial data of this month, right, and you take that in forecasting, so what will happen? You will not get the correct number. The reason being, for this month you still have incomplete data, right? In forecasting, generally what it says, it takes the total amount for a month and then maybe average out, or maybe it will find a simply moving average, all those logics, and then it predicts. But if any of your month is has the incomplete data, it will not show the current number. So that's why generally we kind of exclude the last unit or last 2-3 units. So like for example here, if you see, until quarter 4 you had 26,000 or 28,000 or 15,000. That was in my 5 digits, right? The number were in 5 digits. But for Q1 you still have only 3-digit number. If you use this as a quarter's total and do the forecasting, your numbers are going to be wrong. So in that case, maybe if you say that ignore the last point and then try to calculate your forecast, so things will change a little bit. Then these numbers, what you see, the forecasted one, they will change. Let's say if I say last 2, I don't think it is making any change as of now, but the concept behind this will be kind of to ignore your units wherein you have partial data, right? Any questions over here? Ignore last points or forecasted length? Okay,
No.
all right. Then you have confidence interval. So by default, generally they take 95% in most of the scenarios, and then they do an analysis. Over here, if you see, like, you have 99%, but you don't have 100%, because even if you take 99%, there is still an opportunity of 1% error. So that's why we keep it like this only. Any statistical analysis, it will go like maximum 99% of confidence interval, or normally they take 90 or 95. What is seasonality? I believe I asked this question yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. Seasonality is it's a kind of during one particular season. Maybe for s- for for particular sectors there will be very high sales like that in particular seasons itself. Like say for the January to March, for every year they might have some higher sales, then later somewhat lower sales like that. So it's a way called as every year particular trend.
Right. So over here, if you see, I have plotted sales now. I've changed that for profit forecast into sales. So if you see, there is a specific trend every year. In the first quarter, it is going down. Then the fourth quarter and third quarter, it is going up. Right. For every year, there is a similar kind of trend. That is because of seasonality. Now, if I add the forecast here, let's say add forecast, analytics tab, and then forecast. 10 points, even you can do it for maybe 20 points. Seasonality is auto, and then click on apply. So what will happen, see here, because every year you have a similar kind of seasonality. So as soon as I have plotted for 20 months, right, 20 months, you can see the same kind of pattern over here. You see that? Even if
Yeah.
you go here, let's say if I want to kind of exclude this last quarter or last quarter years, so I'll do last 1 month I need to apply. So there would be some changes in the number, but it will not use the last month's data. But your forecast is ready. I'm still kind of, I wanted to get that equation here. Not sure why Power BI doesn't give, but if you get that equation, it will help you a lot in order to understand the model. It gives you the data, but it doesn't give you the equation. Okay, just give me a minute. All right. So any questions as of now on analytics tab for trend line? I will not say for other things because we get only these lines in case of this trend, the time series analysis. Any questions as of now on these lines?
For each chart, we have separate analytics or tabs, right? For each chart. So it
Hello?
differs based on the separate.
Yeah, as of now, no.
Okay. I believe Avinash was speaking, but I couldn't hear. No, Avinash, we cannot hear you. I mean, your voice is, it seems that you are speaking from very far.
Okay, fine.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure what you are speaking. I'll just go ahead. So this was the table. This is your forecast. Now let's take a look on the cross table once more. I'll just move this table down here.
Now you are able to hear me?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, fine. So I was asking, like, will it be the analytics tab or all those lines and all? It
Mhm.
was based on line chart, right? So for each visualization, we'll have a different.
Exactly. For each
Uh,
visualization, there would be different options.
okay, okay.
So I'll put it here. Now I'm just going ahead and we'll create a cross table now. I'm not
Okay.
talking about a simple table. We'll take a cross table. So for cross table, let me just take, okay. I'll just add the cross table control over here. And in this cross table control, it is similar to your pivot table in Excel, right? So if you remember your pivot table, it is going to behave in the same manner, right? So over here you have rows, you have columns, and you have values, all three segments. So what you want to add into rows, you can drag that here. So maybe you can take, let's say, your hierarchy at this time, right? Your furniture, office supplies, technology is here. In columns, maybe I would like to show the months. So maybe I can take order date or ship date. Let me drag it here. So right now years, but we can change it as we go. And on values, I would like to show sales and profit. So when I say sales and profit, I'll drag my both the fields, sales and profit. So two fields over here. For a moment, if you go to focus mode and see that, so you can see like this is what we covered yesterday also. you get a drop down now. It says either rows or columns, right? Whichever you, where you want to kind of expand or go to the hierarchical level. If you select rows, which means furniture, office supplies and technology. And from here, you can go to next level. So you can see that, right? So you'll see it like this. So what is happening, like on every level, because it is row, that is what selected. So you can see the different levels over here. Now same thing will happen in case of columns as well. So for example, columns, right now it is years. You can change that into quarters, or if you change it, click on further, you can convert that into months. So that's how you can play with your cross tables generally, and you can see all that data here, right? Now I'll just go to the properties over here, and we'll see that some differences you will find in terms of table and cross table. So over here, first of all, on the data, you have rows, columns, values, all that thing. Other options will be remain same, cross table and keep all things. If you go to format, general, style, grid line, these things are also same. I don't see any difference between this and table. On analytics side, okay, for this also there is nothing in the analytics. So basically, except the hierarchical view or drill down capability, there is no difference between your table and cross table. Everything looks same, right? Okay, so I'll just leave it as, maybe I can name it as forecast. And trend. Okay, let's look at it. Okay, yesterday I asked one question, like where to use pie chart and where to use uh, your tables or maybe bar charts or column charts, right? So let's look at one of the image what generally I share. I'll just go here. You'll get it from datasciencecentral.com. Chart type based on variables. Okay, just look at this particular uh, image. Have I shown this earlier?
No.
No.
Okay, right. So before creating any visualization with, I mean, it's irrespective of Power BI in any tool. In any tool, let's say you are planning to create some visualization, you need to ask several questions to yourself, or maybe to the person who is kind of giving the requirements. If your focus is to show the composition, right? Like percentage in different subjects, correct? Composition, then you can opt for these particular charts. It could be your pie chart, it could be waterfall chart, or maybe the stacked plots, maybe trend or bars, right? Why? There is a little bit difference also between these two. So composition, if it is changing over time period, which means on x-axis you are taking time or you are planning to compare with the time, then over the time, then you will go for the any of these four, right? If there is no time component involved, then you can go for this one, pie chart, waterfall chart, and 100% stacked plot. But if it is over time period, then you need to kind of opt for these things, stacked plot or maybe stacked area chart. Same goes with, like, if you want to just show the distribution or relationship, there are few things common between these two, distribution and relationship, like bubble chart or scatter plot. Both are scatter plots only. It is just the visualization is different, appearance is different. Over here also you have a scatter plot or 3D area chart, but these two things are going to be little different, the histogram and line histogram chart. Do you know what is normal distribution or bell curve?
Yeah, yeah, we know something in statistically, but not in the practical way. So
Mhm.
generally that bell curve we use to take for the confidence interval. So we do partition into 6 ways like that. Then uh, we do calculate the probability of getting that into which spot like that we use it to do, but we don't know practically.
Right. So basically, let me tell you, uh, when we plot, right, like let's say you have a data and different observations, and you plot, um, it on x-axis or y-axis, correct? So in case, the median mode and mean, all three things of your data are same, right? Is it possible, right? Can a data have all three numbers as same?
Yeah,
Mean, mode, median. So if your data has all three elements equal or same, lying at the same point in the distribution, then that chart will be known as normal chart, right? That curve will be known as normal curve. Why normal curve? Because your 50% of the elements will lie, will be more than median, and 50% of the elements will be less than median. I mean, median is obviously going to do every time. If I talk only about median, it is always going to do that only. But normal distribution chart, right? Just look at this particular distribution. So what happens over here, if you see, this is your central point, which divides this complete distribution into 250% halves. And over here, right, over here, if you go from 0 to -1, 0 to -1, then you get 34.1% of your elements into this segment. Same goes with if you go towards the positive side, right? The distribution will always be equal over here. And that is why we call it normal chart or bell curve. So in each segment, if you go from 0 to 1, +1 or -1, total 68%, -2 to +2, 95.4%, and if -3 to +3, 99.7%, and -4 to +4, you will have all your 100% element, right? Anything beyond this will be known as outliers, correct? So this chart is called your distribution, normal distribution. And the beauty of this is, like, the from central point, the tail, this line, correct, on both sides will be of same size, which means the zero element divides this particular distribution in 50-50 portion. That is what we call normal plot. And this is the same what we are going to generally use in histogram. So if you see here, this histogram will represent the similar thing, or maybe this line histogram. It's going to represent the same thing, but it is not necessary that all the charts or all data will have a normal distribution. They can be skewed also, like negative skewed or positively skewed, right? If it is, the tail is long on right side, that means it is a negatively skewed. If it is positive, if it is long on left side, then it is positively skewed, right? So I would say read about these things.
Okay.
It will help you for interview actually. While creation, this is not required because Power BI just gives you drag and drop capability. It is not required. But for interviews, you can read about these things because generally in interview people ask where to use which chart. Now comparison side, if you want to compare, now comparison can also be happen two types, the way we are looking at the composition. So comparison you can do over the time period or directly with the dimensions or measures. So if it is over the time period, then you will go this particular area. Either you will plot line chart, column chart. This is again line chart, multiple mini categories. This is the circular area chart, which generally we don't plot it, but you can do this also if you understand. The problem is some charts are very complex, or only people who are involved in statistics and all they can understand, right? So it's good to kind of before creating any particular chart, or let's say you just learned a new chart and you are representing that, you need to know how to explain that or how to understand the data out of it, because you can learn, you can create something, but what is the significance of that chart, right? You need to make other users also understand. Then you have, if comparison is not without, it's without time, then you can go for these ones like bar charts or column charts, correct? So this image I can share the link, you can take a look and do visit the details related to normal distribution or other charts. So I'll go ahead and talk about some new charts now. I think we have not created, we just created one map as of now. Okay, fair enough. So we'll go ahead, I'll add another tab. So we just talked about, like scatter plot. So scatter plot, if I just select it, see the properties of this scatter plot, right? It says add details here, then legend is there, x-axis is there and y-axis is there and the size is there, correct? So basically scatter plot, we can keep two measures over here. We can compare two measures and we can see that what is the relation between those two measures. Let's say if I add sales on x-axis and profit on y-axis, right? You're getting only one dot at this time that represents your data element, correct? As soon as you add legends or details over here, for example, if I add maybe, let's say, subcategory into details, see, you're getting many circles or dots over here. They talk about the distribution or maybe the relation between profit and sales for different subcategories, correct? So let me just put size by profit, or maybe color by subcategory. So here we go. Data labels, I can add sales, I can add profit. Okay, sorry, it's tooltip. Okay, fine. So if you go to these circles, actually each circle, it will show you sales, it will show you profit, and it will show you the the subcategory name, right? Over here, if you see, the more you are going towards on x-axis and you are going up in y-axis, the size of circle is increasing, right? Over here, if you see, right? For this particular thing, the size is like your profit is around, profit is negative over here, and sales is of 46,000. Correct? If you go little up over here, your profit has increased and sales has also increased. So you can say like there is a relation between sales and profit. The more you go towards up, right, more on x-axis or more on y-axis, the size of circle is increasing. There are few exceptions. For example, this storage, your sales is 2 lakhs and profit is only 21,000. Over here, if you see, right, it's 2 lakh 23,000 sales. Over here, the sales is only 2 lakh or 3,000, but still the profit is more. Even if you see this, your sales is only 1 lakh 67,000, but profit is 41. For this, it's more opposite, right? Sales is 1.5 lakhs, but profit is again more than 50,000. So for these few categories over here, for few things, your irrespective of the sales, your profit is kind of uh, not exactly in the relation, right? What is the relation between two measures we call? I mean, when we say like, let's say if I increase one, other is also increasing. If I decrease one, the other is decreasing. What do we call to this relation?
Correlation.
Right. This is called correlation. Right. Now, in case if I increase one, other is also increasing, that will be positive relation, positive correlation. And if I increase one and other is decreasing, we call it negative correlation. And the values of correlation can be maximum of +1 and minimum of -1. Right? So it lies between your -1 and +1. Right? So through this, that is why, if you go through that image, what I was showing, it says relationship. That is why we use a scatter plot. We show that two variables, how they are behaving. And that is what we are plotting over here. Your sales and your profit. Correct? You can put more details also here by going through the properties, and you can show more and more information. Okay. Where do we use this funnel chart? Any idea?
If we have any some hierarchical relations like that, if I want to show, then
Can you give any use case? Hierarchical,
no,
let's say this is my hierarchy. Can I use that here?
no, not like that. I'm not sure, but if any some relation exists, we can use it. Seems.
Okay. See, funnel chart is generally, actually, this is not the right representation what I have done here. I have used a hierarchy in the fields, right? When you say hierarchical, basically, if things are in order, right? We can take the example of sales pipeline. What happens in a sales? First of all, you kind of, do your ad on social media, TV, or anywhere, right? Then people kind of show their interest, right? That's a lead what gets generated. Then your sales people reach out to those interested people, and then they try to kind of negotiate, discuss, have contract, and then they convert that sales into actual customers, right? So that's basically a pipeline or life cycle what you follow. So what happens starting from lead generation till actual conversion of a customer, we follow up everything in a proper order. There is a life cycle of sales. That is what happens. So this funnel chart is generally used in sales pipeline only, right? If you search for Google, right, and just write sales funnel, actual representation of funnel chart, what you get here. So what happens over here? Awareness, like you inform, you show your ad, then people show their interest, right? You start discussion, then they consider your product, they are quite interested to kind of go ahead and buy, and then they kind of maybe they can refer other people also, and finally the purchase happens. So this is the complete life cycle. I mean, different charts you can see the details over here: prospecting, qualifying leads, make an offer, negotiation, finalizing the proposal, closing the deal, deliver the product, right? This is exactly what we represent into funnel chart. If you have that data, sales data, we can show that over here. But as of now, I had this hierarchy, I have plotted it here. Visual appearance will be same, the way you can see here. But the purpose of funnel chart is to show those kind of processes wherein you have stage by stage propagation. Correct? Any doubts here?
No.
We still have couple of charts. What I will do, I'm going to send some data today, right? We'll share a data with you. Basically, I'll put it into the shared folder only. And using that data, just create some of the visualizations, right? So you need to go through the complete cycle, like connecting to that data, do some sort of transformation, and then start doing the visualization, right? In
Yeah.
tomorrow's session, we'll talk about the more options. I mean, we went ahead, but we kind of didn't explore all of them. All these options, what you get in transform tab, add column, view, tools, all these things, right? Not tools exactly. Even on view, you will see very less options, but primarily the transform and add column. This is what we'll explore tomorrow. Correct? But try to create those visualizations and see how it goes. We'll talk about more on, if you face any challenge there.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Right. So any questions before we drop?
So you'll be sending the data for us?
Yeah, I'll put that into the shared drive.
Okay, fine.
You
Yeah.
have
So,
you have access to that, right?
yeah.
Okay. Fine then. Let's meet tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.